Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to talk about the heads of arguments Zika Advocate Mnisi first. This is after Advocate Baloyi's so flat, floppy arguments. Anyway, we all know that Ubaloyi is unable to do heads of arguments. He is all over the show. They were very chaotic in my view, his ones, and he was not arguing what needed to be argued. Why does he want to use Mabungu's cell phone data section 205? He was not arguing that. He quoted some laws that it's his right, blah blah blah, all of that shende. And I don't care about that because I know he's a failure when it comes to arguments. He's not great. And I didn't understand why he was doing the arguments himself, because the last I checked, it was Sibanda that is going to do a cross-examination for accused number 3. And you guys already know that I've been saying that whenever something is quite dodgy, Ubaloyi will give to Sibanda. But I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, Ubaloyi has a liver that is bigger than Indlovu, bigger than the elephant's one, bigger than the lion. He is just a guy that is on a mission, and he's a pharaoh. He will be stopped by the Red Sea when it, that is when he will stop. Other than that, don't even dare think Ubaloyi will stop. Now, moving forward, Mnisi comes in. You would remember that Mnisi told us that he's not going to be filing no heads of arguments because he was really pissed with how things were moving. Anyway, he did a document filing and putting it was very short, very simple. I'm just going to put it here so that you guys can hear what he said, what his response was to Ubaloyi. I don't want to even be going back and forth and be saying a lot of things. I'm trying to get to it. I'm just gonna play it for you so that you can hear what Mnisi had to say. It was proper, Sanalam. It was just great what Mnisi did there.
Where do I start? Let me start here. Our court system in South Africa was not modeled on the idea of there being a winner or a loser. It was modeled on an idea of the interest of justice having been served, my lord. Whether a decision goes against somebody, that somebody is not perceived as a winner. When a decision goes against, or when a decision goes in favor of someone, then that person is not necessarily perceived a winner. Those who understand what interest of justice means would really understand what that means, my lord. My lord, having said that, I have also prepared a document with a view to assist the court much against what I said on Tuesday, the 18th, when I said that I don't think that I would be filing any document with regard to the issues that are before court. Having reflected on that position, my lord, I realized that I owe this court a duty to be of assistance to it in matters such as this one, my lord. Hence, I filed a document that I think the court would love to have. It's not a very lengthy document, but I don't even think that the state needs to interpret it. Thank you, my lord. Let me start, my lord, with a bit of a response on the submissions that have been made by my colleague, my lord, and start at the very onset of his introduction when he told the court, when my colleague for the state told the court that the movement of Mabungu's cell phone goes to the heart of accused number 3's defense. That is entirely not correct. And I said it on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I did not have the whole opportunity to finalize what I would have said. I said that was a misconception. It has been repeated here at court again, because on Tuesday it was said that accused number 3 raised an alibi. And I stood up and said, but that's a misconception. Again today, it has been mentioned, actually it was mentioned twice in the submission by my colleague, that the movement of Mabungu's phone, cell phone, goes to the heart of accused number 3's defense. Again, that is a misconception, because Mr. Mzube's defense is one of a dead denial. He said, I wasn't there, I don't know what happened there, it wasn't me. That's a bad denial. It cannot be an alibi. So I don't know on what basis does the state premise this submission that the movement of Mapungus's cell phone goes to the heart of accused number 3's defense. We have to hear that, my lord. Thank you, my lord. Now, on the issues.
Before we move forward to hear what Mnisi has to say, had to say further than that, guys, I like number one what he did there when he called out Oh My Lord for disturbing him on Tuesday when he was trying to say his answer, his response to Sibanda's submissions on Tuesday. I like what he did there. Call him out and put it on record that we tried, and you are a problem because you are disturbing us when we are putting our things on record. The second part is that he still stands that accused number 3 never raised an alibi, but accused number 3, what he did a bad denial, saying that I was never there, I don't know what happened. And then that for me, is Mnisi telling us that we have not come to say that this person I was with during this time. It made me think about the situation of an alibi that the state keeps saying, accused number 3 raised an alibi. How can it be an alibi when during the time of the incident, I get it, this is the time that they need between 7 o'clock up until 8:30, let's say. Isn't that the time that they are looking for when it comes to the whereabouts of accused number 3? So it cannot be that it becomes an alibi that when he says during the day from morning to afternoon to 6 o'clock, let's say, I was with uMapungulu Ntuli. It cannot be an alibi because the incident happens between 7 and 8. So the alibi that we are looking for is for between that time. This is the time that Mncube says, I was at my place of residence and that is where I was from 6 o'clock until the following morning. How can it be an alibi? I like that. I like that he says it's a bad denial, not that I have an alibi, I was with Mapungulu. No. State, no, we see what you are trying to do there. These people are crooked, okay? Let's continue listening to Mnisi, what Mnisi was saying. Oh, now it's ran away. Okay, let's continue. Oh, adverts. Let me, yeah. Sorry about that. Let's continue.
Before court, whether or not the state can cross-examine a witness on the information that they on the basis of the fact, let me call it a fact, that they would want to use, which is a movement, as I understood the submission of the state of Mr. Mapungulu's cell phone. I think the issue is very narrow and is very succinct. It can actually be formulated as follows. Whether the movement of that cell phone, which is a fact, whether that fact, it's a fact that is relevant to the facts in issue, which is called a facta probantia, or it's a fact that is relevant to the issues themselves, which is called in the document that I've just handed to the court, my lord. I honestly cannot find any justification to stand up before this court and say that the fact, the movement of Mr. Mapungulu's cell phone on the alleged day does not constitute a facta probanda or a facta probantia. In other words, it does not constitute a fact relevant to the fact in issue or a fact that is relevant to the issues themselves. In other words, it does constitute that fact, my lord. The state has dealt in its submission with the admissibility of evidence that is relevant, with the evidence that is relevant to the fact in issues, with the factors that are relevant to the issues themselves. I would not go there. Having said that, my lord, as I'm saying, I could not find any authority on which I could rely to say that that fact, which is the movement of Mapungulu's cell phone, does not constitute a fact that is relevant to the fact in issue. Therefore, I would submit that the answer to those two questions in my view should then be answered in the affirmative. Thank you. However, my lord, it does not end up with, okay, I've referred this to a number of authorities and decisions which are the basis of my submission. But most importantly is that decision of the Distillers Corporation South Africa, BPK, versus Kotze, which is that 1956 volume 1 decision. SA, the 35 at page 357A. I think that is it's a Doyen. That's a decision which is a Doyen. It's a maestro, if I put it that way, my lord, specifically on a factor such as this one. But importantly, again, my lord, there is that decision of the South African the state of the president of the Republic of South Africa and others versus the South African Rugby Football Union and others. The court would remember that at that time, the South African Rugby Football Union was led by the late Louis Late, who was the owner of Ellis Park. Now, a similar question, my lord, also arose in that case. And in trying to address that, the Constitutional Court also had to have regard to the case of Brownie versus June. That is an English case, my lord, a very old case. I think it was 1858 or something like that. The court in that SARFU case acknowledged that that Brownie versus June case forms part of our South African law, my lord. It is actually it has been accepted by our South African system, legal system, the way in which it was dealt with those so many years ago. But I need not go deep into that, my lord, because basically the confession is yes, my lord, in the circumstances of this case and on the fact on which the state wants to, or the state indicates that they want to cross-examine the witness here. I think in terms of the law, my lord, they are well positioned to do that. However, that is not the end of the admissibility of the fact on which they want to cross-examine this witness, my lord. Also, it's a factor that needs to be reckoned, that also needs to be taken into account. In other words, the instrument or the document on which the state wants to cross-examine the witness is a factor that is also needs to be taken, or the state indicates that they want to cross-examine the witness here. I think in terms of the law, they are well positioned to do that. However, that is not the end of the admissibility of the fact.
One thing that you must just understand when it comes to all of this, I think we've listened enough to what Mnisi was trying to say. Mnisi is not fighting the state not to ask questions to Mncube regarding the movement of the cell phone of Mapungubwe Ntuli. However, they must do it within the guidance of law. And when they do that, they must not use authorities that are not agreeing with what needs to be dealt with when it comes to this particular case. Because if they think they are going to ask about Mapungubwe's cell phone during the case of Mncube, then that's when I suppose they do not agree. However, it's not an issue if they want to ask. And they can compare, they can do whatever, but they must follow the law when they are doing that. Is what in a nutshell Mnisi was saying. He doesn't have a problem with them asking questions. It's fine. But follow the law, the right procedure. Use the right procedure. That is when now kubaku problem come. It's when you are going to want sorry guys. Oh, sorry. So yeah, that is the issue. Sorry about that, guys. That is the problem that they are dealing with. Mnisi doesn't have a problem with them asking questions. He has a problem with them using incorrect procedure. That's it. So that is what I understood Mnisi to be saying. And they are using big English, son. I think you heard him. He's using big words there. And I'm not a law expert or anything, but I was impressed with how short and simple he was and straightforward to the point. The point is they are rejecting the request they are opposing the request from the state because the state is using incorrect procedural to actually do what they want to do. What are your thoughts when it comes to Mrs. Heads of arguments? They were short, straight to the point, and they were hitting home when it comes to the state's argument. Thank you. Bye-bye.